Hi, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into Folsom Field, site of the University of Colorado's 38-31 loss against the University of Arizona. I'm Andrew Haubner, joined here by Ryan Koenigsberg of BSNDenver and Jake Shapiro, also of BSNDenver. But guys, we had a headline that came up on BSNDenver of Coach McIntyre guaranteeing a win against this team at the pep rally last night. He had some interesting things to say about it in the post-game. What do you make of the comments and the guarantee as a whole?
Well, I think guaranteeing the win, I think it drew a bit of an overreaction, and you kind of expect that when you see a quote like that and you're putting a headline out that, and you know what's going to come from that. But I think always that guarantees are made a little too big. Of course, Mike McIntyre thinks his team is going to win. Of course, he's going to say something that instills confidence in his team that they believe he's going to win. And when he came into the press conference and he was asked about it, he gave about as good of a response as I could imagine. He says, we're at a pep rally. You're trying to get people fired up. Mm-hmm. You're trying to get people pepped up and ready for this game. Of course you're going to say something like that. I don't think when he said it, he knew exactly the type of attention it was going to garner. But he said, come on, guys. You've been to pep rallies. So he really diffused something that was kind of made a big deal. And you understand why it's made a big deal, because you're guaranteeing a victory and you didn't come out and win. But in the same sense, he was at a pep rally and he made a comment, and you understand what he's doing there.
Yeah, it's something pretty normal that, most coaches would say. And the funny thing that he said was, if I don't believe in these guys, nobody is going to believe in them. And I think that's a pretty interesting theme going into next week, because I don't know how many people do have much faith in this team, especially after the game changed late in the game. So, Shap, you watched Randall come in at quarterback, and Colorado had a really rough time adjusting to him. They busted open that huge play for a touchdown. What did you see that changed the game so much when Randall walked in?
Well, you saw Colorado's linebackers struggle. We talked about it on our show Friday night, that Colorado's down to their 4th, 5th, 6th linebackers, and those guys struggled against the running game. And I was surprised, honestly, that Rich Rodriguez in Arizona didn't go to that running game a little bit earlier than when they went to it. As soon as they went to it, they scored three unanswered touchdowns. So you really tip your hat to Rich Rodriguez, because that's good coaching to notice that Colorado's linebackers were struggling against the run, and to press that button and keep running the football. But besides that, you notice Colorado's defense in total played a really solid game. The second and third quarters, first time they shut out in consecutive quarters since 2011 against Utah. And I was overall impressed with Colorado's performance, but still not enough to get the W.
Yeah, definitely not. But when you look at how well the defense did play, this is the number one scoring offense in the Pac-12. So I kind of begs the question, though. When the defense played well, the offense goes ahead by a touchdown to lead 24-17, and then everything starts to sputter. So when we asked Coach Mack about that in the press conference, he kind of gave the answer of, I don't think we were calling it conservatively at all. And Ryan, is that something that you would agree or disagree with?
Well, I think, they tried to find a bread and butter there. They were trying to say, maybe we can just pound it and just stick it to this team and kick them in the mouth and put them away. And so I think they reached for that, and I think they might have just stuck with it a hair too long. One of these days, Colorado's offense and defense is going to get on the same page at the same time. You look at early in this game, Colorado's offense keeps them in the game with a couple big plays early to make up for the defense giving up a few big plays. Then the defense says, all right, the offense has our back. Let's lock down. And they shut Arizona out for 2 quarters straight, giving up 0 points, the first time Colorado's done that since 2011. And then while they're doing that, the offense comes off the gas and kind of sits there. And even though they finally break through and get that 24-17 lead, and then the offense just stalls. And like you said, it did get a little conservative, but I really think they were trying to find something that they could go to and kind of stick to for the rest of the game. And they just stuck with it a little too long when it wasn't working.
And one of the spark plugs on that offensive side of the ball was Shea Fields, who caught a late touchdown pass but ended up walking off with an injury, had to be helped off the field. So, Shea, how much of an impact is that going to be if Shea Fields is gone for an extended period of time?
Let's start here. Shea Fields has been terrific the last 2 games, nothing short of terrific. And to lose Shea Fields would be, I wouldn't say devastating, because Colorado's very deep at wide receiver. That's the position they're probably deepest at on their football team. They got guys like Bryce Bobo, Devin Ross, who can play multiple positions and step into Shea Fields' role if need be. You saw Lee Walker come in and play late in the game, and Donovan Lee's been somewhat of an army knife for them this year. Yes, losing Shea Fields would absolutely be terrible for Colorado, because he's been great, but I don't think it would put them in a situation where they're completely worse off than they were before. They still have Nelson Spruce. They still have a huge playmaker in Phil Lindsay, who was utilized tonight. And if Sefo Lufau's slinging the ball like he was tonight, you kind of don't see the effects of Shea Fields' game-breaking ability lost as much as you would if Sefo wasn't slinging it. However, we don't know what Shea Fields' situation is at the minute. He's getting x-rays right now across from us, and stay tuned for updates on that.
Yeah, definitely. And Ryan, you kind of joked about it as we were walking out, saying, well, the way the injury reports are, if it's season-ending, we'll know it, and if not, then it'll just be something that could be maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks.
No news is good news.
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Now, looking ahead to Oregon State, the both of you guys have talked, and we mentioned it on a radio show Friday night, of this game, you can either go 3-5 or you go 5-3, assuming that you lose this game, you lose Oregon State, or you win this game, you win Oregon State. So when you look at how Oregon State played today, they got absolutely trounced by Washington State. Do you still feel that way, that it's 3-5, 5-3, or can Colorado balance even here?
Yeah, it's not quite as cut and dry as I was feeling about it before this game. The way Sefo played in this game was really encouraging to me for this team going forward, and the way Oregon State played was encouraging to me for this team's chances next week. But I just have this weird feeling that the way things are trending, that it could just be one of those games where all the bounces go the wrong way, everything goes wrong. You make good passes that hit off players' shoulder pads and end up going for pick sixes, that type of thing. I just have this weird feeling that could happen. We'll see. As I'm not going to go on the record making any predictions now. I want to look at this as the week progresses. But I will say, I don't think it's as cut and dry as we said earlier in the week in terms of 3-5 or 5-3.
Shap, agree, disagree?
Colorado was pretty impressive tonight, and if they did get a bounce or two on one of those fumbles that was lost by Arizona, if Colorado jumps on one of those balls, this game could have been completely different and gone Colorado's way. However, the biggest question surrounding this team is not only can this team win a Pac-12 game, it's can it win a Pac-12 road game. I really liked the fight from this team tonight, but I really don't know if they have the ability to win a Pac-12 road game. I haven't seen anything that leads me to believe it. We've seen them play one Pac-12 road game already this year, and we all know the result of that against Arizona State.
So next week's game will be against Oregon State in primetime on the Pac-12 network. Still a lot of football to be played in this season for the University of Colorado, but that will do it for us here tonight. 38-31 is our final score from Folsom. For Ryan Koenigsberg and Jake Shapiro of BSN Denver, I'm Andrew Haubner. Have a good night.